So yeah, with Manulife lowering their interest rates, how is that bad for somebody a personal for personal debt?
Well, what Manulife had recently done, according to the article, was they were posting mortgage interest rates of 2.99% for a 5-year fixed, and the government saw fit to step in and contact the place to say that keeping such low interest rates is actually encouraging homeowners to act like they're using their house as an ATM machine. It's encouraging the borrowing. Well, if I've got such good rates, I'll borrow against my house and incur spending. But this is right at a time when the government has been, for many, many months, warning that Canadian household debt is far too high. It's at record levels of debt, and we can foresee a crisis coming if we don't put on the brakes and start to control our debt. So low interest rates encourage the borrowing against our house. We just can't keep using it as an ATM any longer. We have to control our debt and our spending. Otherwise, when interest rates rise, and it's not a matter of if, but when, we're going to find our cost of carrying this extra debt that we're being encouraged right now is going to be much harder to maintain, and it's going to cause financial difficulties for many residents.
So, what is the main concern for an individual with their own personal debt? What's the biggest need to contain that debt?
Well, statistics just came out again, and right now the Canadian average household debt has reached its record level one more time. It is now 165% our debt versus income. And that is all-time record high. It continues to uptick. It's trending higher and higher each and every time. Just to put 165% debt versus income into perspective, our debt versus income 20 years ago, back in 1990, was only 84%. We've almost doubled it in 20 years. And another interesting comparison is the United States. I think everybody's familiar that they had a housing crash in '07, and the U.S. debt hit 173% when that started to fall apart. We're at 165. We're trending higher and higher to what could be perilously close to our own personal financial crisis.
So, in the world of finance, is that kind of the benchmark now that we've seen the American economy do that at 173%? Is that kind of the ceiling that everyone's afraid of?
That's what everybody's afraid of, and that's what the Bank of Canada governor and the finance minister are warning over and over. If we don't reduce that debt, we're getting dangerously close to that cliff where, if you think about if our economy suffers any sort of shock, like if unemployment rates rise, if we go through a recession, then what you'll find is businesses will suffer, people will get laid off, and carrying way too much debt right at a time when interest rates are going to rise on us too. So the cost of carrying debt is going to be harder by, to the tune of a few $100s more per month. So any risk to the economy could cause serious financial problems for many residents.
So everyone says that here in Canada we have a great financial system. We're in good shape, but it's not only what we do in finances. It's something that everywhere around the world, debt is a concern. So we kind of have to keep that spending to a minimum, right?
I agree. Our economy, of course, is very much intertwined with global economy, and we're all aware of several global crises going on, whether it be in the Eurozone debt crisis bailing out this country or that. The U.S. has its financial problems on a regular occurrence. Well, our economy depends on the world economy too, and if the world economy is poor, it will affect our exports. That means Canadian businesses will suffer. Our Canadian businesses might have to go through layoffs. Unemployment's rise. And therefore, you can see that could be a potential shock to our economy coming and leaving, the Canadian resident with too much debt, finding themselves unable to pay and looking at serious financial consequences. We have to control the debt. We have to get it under control and bring it down.
Well, now that we've scared everybody about debt, how does the average person contain their own personal debt?
Well, there are ways to take control of the problem, and it begins with a self-assessment. First of all, what are the warning signs that you might have an existing problem and you're a particular individual that needs to do something about it? So I just want you to know that on our website at parrysoundmoneyproblems.com, we do have a self-assessment, and there's many others on other websites. But if you got warning signs like I'm relying on credit cards more and more, if a collection agency calling or garnishment of wages is an immediate tip-off, but if I feel I have to keep borrowing just to keep up, or I'm having trouble with paying my debts, then I may have a financial situation. The first step to gaining control of that, first of all, I would highly recommend to have every legitimate debt resolution strategy explained. So that, just for example, we at no cost or obligation do help people to go through every financial option, explain to them. Basically, they are, well, you could go through self-help where you design your own very strict household budget and focus on payment of debt. There's possibilities to consolidate debt either through a consolidation loan or refinance your house. There are qualified credit counselors through the Ontario Association of Credit Counseling. Here at BDO, we do consumer proposals, which requires a licensed trustee to administer. And then the very last option in this world is personal bankruptcy, but only where necessary. That's a last option.
So what are some tips for people who want to start trying to control their debt?
Okay, so I would say first, rather than waiting for statements to show up at month end, here's my credit card statement and make the payment. Well, actually, why not use every pay and always make proportionate payments with every paycheck? What it does is help towards bringing down the balance. It won't cost so much interest as a result, and it might actually help to avoid making additional purchases when you see debts coming down. If you feel that you're prone to spontaneous type purchases, well, leave the credit cards at home, and then you don't have them, and so that any purchases made are planned for. Now, there's certain events each and every year that occur regularly, such as birthdays, Christmas, holidays, vacations, etc. They happen every year, but perhaps due to a lack of planning, we leave it too late and have to use debt to make those purchases. So why not open up a savings account and put money in it off every paycheck so those events which do happen are planned for well in advance. I also want you to know that we have many budgeting tools and spreadsheets and calculators on our website to help with understanding those various strategies.
Now, budgets can be very scary. Go into a little bit of detail about the best way to come up with a budget for yourself.
Well, you start off, of course, understanding your income. And that's on a case-by-case basis. Some people are on salary, some people are hourly wage, some people are self-employed. Right. But you have to understand the income available to you. And then you're going to begin with keeping track of all of your costs. So we do recommend saving receipts and tracking your costs. Just business as usual, run through a month the way you normally would, but save all your receipts and write it down. There's going to be some fixed expenses that are easy to account for, such as rent or mortgage, car loan payments, insurance, and whatnot, utilities. But then there's lots of discretionary expenses which really need to be focused on, such as fluctuating costs of groceries, which are more and more expensive each day. Cost of gasoline goes up all the time. What about complete discretionary expenses, such as dining out and entertainment that might be able to be controlled? To design a budget, you got to know what you're spending first and track it, and then start analyzing, is that acceptable? Can we do better? Can we cut corners? Because I need to put as much as I can on controlling my debt and bringing it down before interest rates rise, and I am now going to be paying even more for that debt.
Now, there's a lot of options out there for people. They don't have to do it by themselves. There's you guys at BDO, and there's you guys offer the website, phone numbers, and things like that?
Yes. So at BDO, first of all, we are a member of, we're a national accounting firm, and we've been doing personal and commercial insolvency since 1958. A licensed trustee, first of all, at no obligation, reviews every possible option with you at no charge. And if a person needs help to control their debt, a licensed trustee can offer a consumer proposal. It must be administered by a licensed trustee, which is to work out a resolution with your creditors and put everything under one consolidated payment and resolve the debt that way. There's no interest. It protects your assets, and it protects garnishments and phone calls, collections, and whatnot. The last resort is to file a bankruptcy again with a licensed trustee such as BDO, but of course it is treated as a last resort, and we explore all options before we get to that point.
Excellent. Well, thanks, Mark. Is there anything that we didn't touch on that you...
Well, your listeners may be interested in actually obtaining professional advice, because we do encourage it. Hey, have your options explained. So we can certainly provide lots of information. Again, the website is parrysoundmoneyproblems.com.
Well, thanks very much, Mark. Very informative. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good day.
Bye now.
Bye.
Bye now.
Bye.